For millions of students in the United States, there is one moment they wait for every year. The final school bell rings. Books close. Backpacks go home. And for many families, a completely different season begins. Summer break. But what is summer break really like in the United States? If you watch American movies, you may imagine 3 months with no school. Kids ride bikes, families travel across the country, teenagers go to summer camp, and everyone spends long days at the beach. Some of that is real, but summer break in America is more complicated and more interesting than it looks. First, there is something important to understand. The United States does not have one national school calendar. School districts can have very different schedules. In 2026, students are returning to school at very different times. Some schools begin as early as July, while others do not start until September. By August 16th, nearly half of American schools are expected to be back in class. So, when does summer break begin? For many students, the school year finishes in late May or June. Classes usually begin again sometime in August or early September. This creates a long vacation, often much longer than summer holidays in many other countries. And this break has become an important part of American culture. When school ends, daily life changes. Children suddenly have many free hours. Parents have to decide what their children will do during the day. Some families travel. Some children stay with grandparents. Others join sports programs, community activities, or summer camps. And summer camp is one of the most famous American traditions. A summer camp is a program where children and teenagers spend time doing activities during their school vacation. Some camps last only during the day. These are called day camps. Children arrive in the morning, enjoy activities, and return home later. Other camps are very different. At a sleepaway camp, children stay for several days or even weeks. They sleep there, usually in cabins, and spend their days swimming, hiking, playing sports, making crafts, sitting around campfires, and meeting new friends. For many American children, going to camp is their first experience spending a long time away from their parents. But summer is not only for children. It is also one of the biggest travel seasons in the United States. And Americans have a special relationship with the road. The country is enormous. Highways connect cities, beaches, mountains, small towns, deserts, and national parks. This helped create another classic American summer tradition, the road trip. A family packs the car. They prepare snacks and drinks. They choose some music, and then they drive, sometimes for hours or even for several days. In 2026, road travel remains extremely popular. Around the July 4th holiday period alone, more than 61 million Americans were expected to travel by car. Where are they going? There is no single answer. Some families visit relatives. Others travel to beaches. Some go to large cities or theme parks. And many use summer to explore America's national parks. Places such as Yellowstone, Grand Teton, Glacier, and other parks become important summer destinations because warmer weather can make more areas accessible. The National Park Service describes summer as a particularly active season in the parks, with visitors using their vacation time to explore nature and history. In 2026, summer also has a special connection with the 250th anniversary of the United States. But visiting these places requires planning. Popular parks can be busy. Some activities, campsites, permits, or tours may need reservations. Weather and road conditions can also change. So the National Park Service recommends checking current conditions and planning before arriving. Still, you do not need to travel thousands of kilometers to experience an American summer. Sometimes, summer is much simpler. A neighborhood swimming pool, a baseball game, ice cream after dinner, a barbecue in the backyard, children playing outside until the sun goes down. And because the days are longer, people often spend more time outdoors. Then, in the middle of the summer, comes one of the most important dates on the American calendar, July 4th, Independence Day. Families and friends meet for barbecues and celebrations. American flags appear everywhere. Communities organize events. And when night arrives, fireworks light up the sky. In 2026, the celebration was especially important. July 4th, 2026 marked 250 years since the adoption of the Declaration of Independence. But after the fireworks are over, summer continues. There are still trips to take, camps to attend, places to explore, and long, warm evenings to enjoy. And for many young Americans, there is another important part of summer waiting for them. Because while younger children may think about camps, swimming pools, and vacations, millions of teenagers see summer very differently. For them, summer can mean something new. Their first real job. For them, summer can mean something new. Their first real job. For generations, working during summer has been a classic experience for American teenagers. A teenager might work at an ice cream shop, a restaurant, a swimming pool, a summer camp, or a local store. The idea is simple. School is closed, so teenagers have more free time. A summer job gives them a chance to earn their own money, meet new people, and learn how the working world works. For some teenagers, that first paycheck feels very important. Maybe they use the money to buy clothes, go out with friends, or save for a car. But a summer job can teach something more valuable than money. You have to arrive on time. You have to communicate with customers. You have to listen to a manager. And sometimes, you have to solve problems without asking your parents for help. However, this American tradition is changing. In 2026, finding a summer job has become more difficult for many teenagers. One analysis estimated that businesses could add only about 790,000 teen workers during the summer. That would be the lowest number since this type of data began in 1948. Why is this happening? There is no single reason. Some businesses need fewer seasonal workers. Some teenagers prefer sports, academic programs, volunteering, or other activities. And in some places, teenagers are competing with adults for the same entry-level jobs. Still, summer work has not disappeared. Jobs such as camp counselor, lifeguard, cashier, barista, babysitter, and recreation worker are still options in many communities. But not every student wants to work. For many young Americans, summer is about spending time with friends. And because there is no school the next morning, the daily routine can change completely. They may sleep later, meet friends at the mall, go swimming, play basketball at a local court, spend hours playing video games, go to the movies, or simply stay outside until late in the evening. There are also many local summer events. Cities and towns organize outdoor concerts, movies and parks, food festivals, and community celebrations. Then there are the fairs. A county fair or state fair can feel like a small world created for a few days or weeks. There may be carnival rides, games, live music, animals, competitions, and a lot of food. In August 2026, fairs across the country continue this tradition. Events such as the Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and Minnesota state fairs are part of the summer calendar. And the food can be an experience by itself. Corn dogs, funnel cakes, ice cream, corn on the cob, and sometimes very unusual fried foods. But American summer is not the same everywhere. This is a huge country. A summer day in Florida can be hot and humid. In Arizona, temperatures can become extremely high. In California, people may spend the day near the Pacific Ocean. In Colorado, families can escape into the mountains. And in Alaska, summer days can have an incredible amount of daylight. So there is no single American summer experience. There are many. And there is another side of summer that tourists do not always see. For parents, those long weeks without school can be difficult. Children still need supervision. Summer camps cost money. Travel costs money. And parents usually do not receive a 2-month vacation from work just because their children do. This means families have to plan. Grandparents may help. Older brothers and sisters may watch younger children. Parents may choose day camps or local programs. Some families organize their work schedules around their children's activities. So, for a child, summer break may feel like complete freedom. For a parent, it can feel like a giant puzzle. But slowly the weeks pass. June becomes July. July becomes August. Stores begin to change. Swimsuits and beach products start sharing space with notebooks, pencils, backpacks, and school supplies. You begin to see signs that say, back to school. And suddenly, something that seemed very far away in June is getting closer. The first day of school. For some students, that is terrible news. For others, it means seeing friends again, starting new classes, playing school sports, and returning to a familiar routine. But before the alarm clocks start ringing again, there is still time for one last trip, one last barbecue, or one last long summer evening. And that final part of the American summer tells us something interesting. Summer break is not only about having no school. It has become a season with its own traditions, its own rhythm, and its own place in American life. Summer break is not only about having no school. It has become a season with its own traditions, its own rhythm, and its own place in American life. But there is one interesting question. Why do American students have such a long summer break? Many people believe it comes from America's farming history. The popular story says that children needed the summer months to help their families on farms. But the real history is more complicated. In the 1800s, school calendars were very different across the country. Rural children often had breaks during important farming periods. In cities, schools sometimes operated for much more of the year. Over time, school systems became more organized, and a long summer vacation became common. Today, that long break creates another debate. What happens to learning when students spend many weeks away from school? You may hear Americans use the expression summer slide. No, this is not a slide at a swimming pool. The summer slide describes the idea that students can lose some academic skills during a long vacation. A 2026 review of 28 academic studies found that summer learning loss is generally considered a real problem. However, researchers also say that it is complicated, and its effects are not exactly the same for every student. This does not mean children should spend their entire vacation studying. Summer can also give them something important. Time. Time to play. Time to explore. Time to read something they choose. Time to learn outside a classroom. A trip to a national park can become a science lesson. Visiting Washington, D.C. can become a history lesson. Helping prepare food can teach basic math. Even reading a book for fun keeps the mind active. And, of course, summer can simply be a time to rest. That balance is important, because after several weeks, another American tradition begins. Back to school season. Walk into a large American store in late summer, and you will probably see entire sections filled with school supplies. Notebooks, pencils, folders, backpacks, lunchboxes. Parents check school lists. Children choose new clothes. Teachers prepare their classrooms. But remember, there is no single national first day of school. In 2026, school start dates across the United States stretch from the middle of July into September. Nearly half of schools are expected to be open by August 16th, and around 80% before September begins. This means that while one child is sitting in a classroom, another child in a different state may still be at the beach. That may sound strange, but it reflects something important about the United States. Education is strongly influenced by states and local school districts, and summer traditions also change depending on where you live. But wherever the summer happens, there is usually one final moment. The night before school begins. The backpack is ready. The alarm is set. Maybe new shoes are waiting near the door. A student who spent weeks sleeping late suddenly remembers something terrible. Tomorrow, the alarm may ring at 6:30 in the morning. Summer freedom is officially ending. Now, let's review some useful English words. Summer break is the long vacation between school years. A road trip is a long journey made by car, usually with several places to visit. A summer camp is a program where children spend part of their vacation doing activities. A summer job is temporary work during the summer months. The summer slide is the possible loss of some academic skills during a long school vacation. And back to school describes the period when students prepare to return to classes. These expressions are useful because summer break is more than a vacation in the United States. It is part of growing up. For a young child, it may mean swimming pools, camps, and playing outside. For a teenager, it may mean a first job, more independence, or long days with friends. For parents, it can mean vacations, family memories, and a lot of planning. And for everyone, summer eventually ends. The swimming pools become quieter. The road trips finish. The camps close. The days slowly become shorter. And millions of students return to their classrooms. But maybe that is one reason summer break feels special. It does not last forever. For a few weeks, normal routines change. Families travel. Children explore. Teenagers experience a little more freedom. And people create memories that can stay with them long after the school bell starts ringing again. Thank you for listening to Learn and Chat. Keep listening. Keep learning. Stay curious. And I'll see you in our next story.